Welcome to this edition of Head to Head. I'm your host, Cam McKinney, and this is episode number 360 of the podcast. And on this episode, I'm talking about how this year's Phoenix Suns team did not live up to expectations. A lot of teams this year in the NBA played as well or as bad as expected. One who came nowhere near to expectations or lived up to the hype were the Phoenix Suns. And all of the talk surrounding this team is about Kevin Durant, and I find all of that talk to be exhausting. Look, Kevin Durant is an all-time great player, but I've come to the obvious conclusion he should no longer be viewed as the main piece of a franchise. I want him as a piece, but he's no longer a number one option. It didn't work in Brooklyn, and it was somehow worse in Phoenix. How many more teams are going to trade for this guy to pair him with another superstar player? I mean, I'm looking around the league, and yes, him joining the Miami Heat would make a little bit of sense to me, because if you got to keep Tyler Hero, adding Kevin Durant with Bam and Hero, that would be a nice trio. The other team I would have to think would be in on getting Kevin Durant would be the Dallas Mavericks after trading away Luka. I mean, a big three of Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and Anthony Davis, but I don't know if Kevin Durant would ever want to pair with Kyrie again after what went down in Brooklyn. I was shocked to hear at the deadline that Kevin Durant did not want to go back to Golden State. It's like, come on, guy. You won 2 rings there. You would get to play with Steph Curry. You had success. They still have Draymond. I don't know what Kevin Durant is looking for in a basketball team right now. I believe part of the problem is he still views himself as the alpha, as the number one guy on a team, and he's not having that much success to warrant feeling like that anymore. Sometimes it does feel like Kevin Durant gets over-criticized. He is a great basketball player, but I do feel like he lacks self-awareness at times. So looking at the Suns this past year, they went 36-46, and I think the lesson they should learn from this season and this past couple of years is that the face of their franchise should be Devin Booker, because when Devin Booker was the number one option on the team, they went all the way to the NBA Finals. And another thing, pair Devin Booker with a good point guard, because when Devin Booker was playing his best basketball, he was playing with Chris Paul. Devin Booker is not a point guard. He is a shooting guard. Tyus Jones is a solid option, but I would like to see the Phoenix Suns upgrade at that position mightily. I believe the Suns' best chance for short-term success is building around Devin Booker. He doesn't need all-star, superstar teammates. Just put together a nice team around him, and you can have some decent enough regular season success. Ultimately, the Phoenix Suns getting rid of Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton in favor of bigger stars did not work. Those guys are not superstars, but they fit in well with the Suns, both in the regular season and the postseason. And I will go a step further and say they should not have let go of Chris Paul. They had a good all-around team and instead chased building a super team, which turned out to be not that super. So like I said earlier, everyone thinks the big question regarding the Phoenix Suns is, what are they going to do with Kevin Durant? The bigger question is, what are they going to do with Bradley Beal? I mean, this was a guy that everyone viewed as a perfect number 3 option on a super team. There were years and years where Laker fans wanted Bradley Beal alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis. There were years and years where Celtics fans wanted Bradley Beal alongside Tatum and Brown. Beal finally gets paired with 2 other superstars in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and becomes a bench player. He's a guy who has a max contract, and the Phoenix Suns clearly don't know what to do with him. And I don't care who ends up replacing Mike Budenholzer as head coach of the Phoenix Suns. You cannot enter next season with that same trio of Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. I don't care how many games they played or didn't play together. I have seen enough. That trio is never going to have success. I don't want to see them play together again, and I feel like Phoenix Suns fans agree with me. And best case scenario is those two go. I think the best case scenario is they end up trading away Durant and Bradley Beal in two separate deals where they get a lot of draft capital back. The biggest issue with this version of a big three isn't that they didn't mesh well offensively, which they didn't. It's the fact that none of these three players are known for the defensive end. I mean, Kevin Durant at times can be a decent enough defender. The same goes for Devin Booker, and nobody has ever praised Bradley Beal for his defense. These three players are known for what they do offensively. If you look at the history of big threes, the ones that end up having success are the ones who have at least one player play great defense. I mean, the big three with the Celtics had Kevin Garnett. Paul Pierce and Ray Allen were great offensively, and Garnett brought it defensively. The Miami Heat with Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was an elite defensive player. And I would also say with them, LeBron and D. Wade were great defenders at times as well. The two that Kevin Durant have been a part of lacks a defensive stalwart. I mean, when he was on the Brooklyn Nets, he was paired with Kyrie Irving and James Harden, two of the most talented offensive guards in the history of basketball, but neither of them play good enough defense. And the same thing happened in Phoenix, and he thought he was going to get different results. It just didn't make any sense. Why Durant won those titles in Golden State is because that team was great offensively and defensively. I mean, yes, you had all the offensive talent with Durant, Curry, and Klay Thompson, but you also had really good defensive players with Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala. I'm not against the idea of super teams. I'm against the idea of all three guys just being known for their offense. You gotta get at least one of those star players to be good defenders, or they're not going to work out. The Suns do have other players on the roster who are decent. I mean, Grayson Allen has had a real resurgence with the Phoenix Suns. I mean, last year he led the NBA in three-point percentage. There was more than enough talent on the roster for this team to have success, and you can't say it's because of a lack of coaching. I mean, the last two coaches that they've had have won NBA titles. Frank Vogel won a title with the LA Lakers, and Mike Budenholzer won with the Milwaukee Bucks. If those guys couldn't find success with this team, nobody was going to. Yes, I think it's easy in hindsight to call this version of the Phoenix Suns overrated, but I think you should have seen this coming. I didn't know what to expect from Bradley Beal. He was a guy who put up numbers on a lot of bad teams. I mean, yes, a few of those years, the Wizards ended up making the playoffs, but I was never super high on Bradley Beal. There was a time a few years ago where I wanted the Celtics to trade for him, but that was before the Celtics were having a lot of success in the playoffs. But with Kevin Durant, the minute things blew up in Brooklyn, I was kind of done with the idea of any team building around him because he's kind of unstable. He's become an unstable presence on basketball teams, which is wild to say out loud because he was once known for his loyalty to the OKC Thunder. And I get it. He goes to Golden State. He builds something there. He leaves them. He wants to prove that he can be a number one again. And look at what has happened in Brooklyn and in Phoenix. And I want to make this very clear. I am not down on Kevin Durant as a basketball player. I am down on him as a decision maker. Like, he clearly doesn't know what he wants in a basketball team and what he needs in a basketball team. I am of the belief that he never should have left Golden State. He would have won another title or two, and his legacy would be a lot better. Kevin Durant's legacy, like it or not, has taken a hit with the failures of both the Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns, because a lot of people, myself included, put a lot of the blame on him because he made these decisions. He built these teams. He said, I'm going to the Brooklyn Nets if you get me Kyrie Irving and you get me James Harden. He made that decision, and he chose the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant wanted to play with Bradley Beal over both Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. And guess what? I would feel the exact same way about about LeBron James. The difference is every time he forms one of these super teams, things work out for him. I mean, he goes to the Miami Heat with D Wade and Chris Bosh. He wins 2 titles. Then he goes back to Cleveland. He forces them to trade Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love, and he forms a big three with Love and Kyrie Irving. They win a ring. Then he goes to the Lakers and pairs himself with Anthony Davis, and they win a ring. LeBron James has had success with all of the teams he's built. Kevin Durant has not. He has had one success story, and it was the Golden State Warriors. And I believe what LeBron has done is he has paired himself with players he believes is at least on his level. I feel like Kevin Durant does not view Devin Booker like he's on his level, and the same goes for Bradley Beal clearly. I think the problem has been that Durant has had too much power when it comes to which basketball teams he plays for, and the same thing is going to happen again. He's going to pick the team that the Suns end up trading him to, and it's probably not going to work out because, again, I just don't know what kind of basketball team he wants to play on anymore, who he wants to be coached by. I mean, he's wanted to be coached by Steve Nash. That was a red flag right away. The one saving grace the Phoenix Suns have moving forward is they still have Devin Booker, who's still only 28 years old. He should be the building block. He should be the face of the franchise and the thing you build around. Get him back to playing his absolute best basketball. And how you do that, and I will continue to repeat this, is pair him with a high-level point guard who's going to get him the ball. And surround him with elite defenders. It does really drive me insane when teams have success with their own superstar player and they think how they get better is to pair him with another superstar player. The Knicks are an example of what I'm talking about. They had success last season with Jalen Brunson, and they said to themselves, let's get him a star in Karl Anthony Towns. And I don't know, that might end up working out. I just don't like that ideology. I like the idea of that player and that group staying together intact and getting better and ultimately finding success with one another. I get why fans are star obsessed in the NBA, but I don't understand why teams are so star obsessed because it's not ultimately leading to that much success. I mean, the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George didn't win anything. The Philadelphia 76ers just added Paul George to Joel Embiid. They didn't have any success whatsoever. The Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA Finals with one superstar player in Giannis. The Denver Nuggets won the NBA Finals with one superstar player in Jokic. It can be done. You don't need more than one superstar to win in the NBA. The OKC Thunder may end up winning this year's NBA Finals with one superstar. And there's a part of me that really hates that if they don't, people will say, well, what the OKC Thunder need to do is to pair Shea with a star like Kevin Durant. I don't think that's the answer. There's only one star who I'd be really interested to see play with Devin Booker, and that's Trae Young. I mean, that's a legitimate point guard. I would be intrigued by the Phoenix Suns if they had a guard duo of Trae Young and Devin Booker. Then I would start to take them seriously again. I think that duo would make Phoenix basketball exciting. Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. That's just what I want to see happen. I want to see Trae Young paired with Devin Booker. That would be best for both players because I do look at them and I go, they're both exciting players. They've had success in the playoffs, but they need to be paired with another guard on their level. And I get that makes me a bit of a hypocrite. I'm saying that pairing a star with another star doesn't always work. That's just what I want to see, and I think that makes sense basketball-wise. But what I like about that duo is I think in that Devin Booker would be the sole face of the Phoenix Suns. It would put less pressure on Trae Young if he were to go there. He wouldn't be the face of the organization like he has been for the Hawks. You also just have to get players that's going to play throughout most of the season. I mean, in both years with the Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal has played exactly 53 games in each season. That's not enough. That puts too much pressure on Devin Booker because he's the one guy who's not missing games. I mean, this past year, Kevin Durant played in only 62 games. while Devin Booker played in 75. I mean, this is the other problem with these big threes, is usually two of the three guys ends up missing so much time because of injury issues. And then you get all of these excuses. Well, they've only played in this many games together, and that's not an excuse. You put this team together. Yes, there's a part of me that thinks this is a what-if situation. Like, if all three of these players were healthy the entire time, I think the Phoenix Suns would have won more regular season games together, but I at no point believed in them to be legitimate NBA final contenders. I don't think at their best, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker are a good enough trio to seriously compete in the playoffs. And the reason that everyone did take them seriously is because of one name, and that name is Kevin Durant, because we've seen him play in numerous conference finals and win the NBA finals twice with the Golden State Warriors. And with Devin Booker, we've seen him make it all the way to the NBA Finals. But the problem with that line of thinking is they did not do it together. They did it separately with other teammates. And of course, the other limitation on these super teams is you're paying all three of these players these huge max contracts, and you're not able to afford good role players. So over the last few years, the Phoenix Suns have had aging players like Eric Gordon be a part of their bench. And the Suns were clearly not a deep enough team to be able to survive games without Durant and Beal. That's why they only ended up winning 36 games. I mean, that's the real embarrassing thing here when it comes to the Phoenix Suns, is they didn't even make it to the play-in tournament with a roster that had Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. So how can you come back next season with two of those three players still on your roster? The only guy who should still be on the Phoenix Suns is Devin Booker. Now, over the last week, Stephen A. Smith of ESPN has been really harsh towards the owner of the Phoenix Suns, Matt Ishbia. And look, I get it. Matt Ishbia bought a new team and he wanted to make splashy moves, so he brought in Kevin Durant. It's similar what happened with Brooklyn. They got new ownership. They said, get me the biggest star, and that guy ended up being Kevin Durant. Is it fair to call him a bad owner? Maybe. I'm willing to give him a second chance if he's willing to do things right this time. I mean, he needs to build a complete basketball team, and he needs to make good basketball decisions and hire good people around him. So on one hand, I understand criticizing the owner because of the lack of success, but on the other hand, it's hard to criticize Ishbia when he's willing to pay everyone through the roof. Durant has a huge contract. Beal has a huge contract. Booker has a huge contract. He brought in Mike Budenholzer. Those four names should have been able to win more basketball games together than they did. That's not on Matt Ishbia. What he did is what every new owner does. He wants to be liked by the fan base, so he said, here, I'll give you the biggest name possible, Kevin Durant, a future Hall of Famer, an all-time great basketball player. He's going to get us a lot of buzz, and he did. Everyone was super high on the Phoenix Suns after they traded for Kevin Durant. Should they have known better? Absolutely, but they didn't, and a lot of basketball teams would have made those same choices because that's what these teams want, superstar players like Kevin Durant. And what do those superstar players want in return? To play with other star players like Bradley Beal. So yes, I'm usually a guy who's mostly pro player, but in this case, I'm blaming Kevin Durant more than I'm blaming Matt Ishbia because this is what Kevin Durant wanted. He wanted to be paired with Devin Booker and with Bradley Beal. He thought that that would work out. He thought that that was the best trio he could play with in the entire NBA. Kevin Durant chose the Phoenix Suns as much as the Phoenix Suns chose Kevin Durant. And now I don't know if either party wants anything to do with the other. I wouldn't be surprised if the Phoenix Suns didn't want Kevin Durant back, and I wouldn't be surprised to hear next week that Kevin Durant demands a trade out of Phoenix. Anything can happen when it comes comes to the future of the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant. I just think the Suns should be doing whatever it takes to salvage their future with Devin Booker. I still believe he's one of the best shooting guards in the entire NBA. He's still only 28 years old. He should have been an all-star last season, and he wasn't because the Phoenix Suns were underperforming. This is a guy who's still in the prime of his life as a basketball player. Take advantage of that fact. He should be your one-star player. Get rid of Beal, get rid of Durant, and build around Devin Booker. Because the real problem for the Phoenix Suns would be if one day Devin Booker wakes up and says, wow, this franchise has done me wrong, and he demands a trade out of Phoenix. That would be worst case scenario and put the franchise in rebuild mode. Thanks for listening to this edition of Head to Head. I'm Cam McKinney, and there'll be a new episode of the podcast every Monday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so please rate, review, and subscribe.